Alright, so I'm going to show how to open up this MacBook Pro model A1398. So I'm going to be replacing the screen. First, what you want to do is remove all the screws from the bottom. This is using a pentalobe. I believe it's a 1.2. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Once you remove those 10 screws, keep them in order. The two back here are a bit shorter, but everything else, other than that, they're all the same. Alright, but I like to keep them in order to put back the same screws where I took them out. Anyways, once you do that, you can lift up from the back here using your fingernails, or you can get a pry tool around the edge and then just pull it up. Alright, just like that. Get the cover off. Alright, there's just two clips here. Okay, once you do that, you'll want to disconnect the battery, of course. You don't want to get anything shorted out. After you disconnect the battery, press and hold the power button for 15 seconds, right? 1, 2, 3. It doesn't have to be exactly 15 seconds, but about 15 seconds should be good. The longer, the better, just to make sure that there's no power left in the computer, okay? So once you do that, you'll need a T5 for the inside, as well as a T8, I believe, was it? We'll find out. Alright, so I'm just going to be doing the screen, but there's all these other components. I have a lot of videos showing all of this other stuff. The batteries are glued in. The speaker, you have to remove the whole logic board to get it out. The SSD, there's just one screw holding it here. It's a T5, and then you can lift it up and pull it out. Same thing with the wireless card. The antennas you pull up from the tails, and then the fans have the latches to take them out. But anyways, if you're curious how to do those, just check for my other MacBook logic board removals and things like that. They're all very similar. Okay, so anyways, now that we disconnected the battery and held down the power button, we're going to disconnect the screen cable. So it has the little plastic pull tab, but I usually just use my fingernail underneath the edge of this metal bracket to lift it up. So as you can see, it's lifted up. Once you do that, you can take the metal bracket and grab near the bottom part of the side edges, and then just pull it back. It's hard to see because my hands are in the way while pulling it, but basically you just disconnect it. Alright, so we are going to disconnect the wireless antennas as well as the camera Eyesight cable. So the antennas, again, you pull up from the tail, just pry it straight up like this. I use my two fingernails, that's the easiest. Alright, and when you put them back, you just line them up and then push it down. Anyways, we're going to disconnect this. So there's a adhesive going along the whole bottom of this cable, so I like to kind of peel it up starting back here. Okay. Once you peel that up, you can lift these pieces out of the little guiding rails. Alright, and then just peel up the adhesive. Once you get to the connector here, you have to be careful because the cable, if you just yank on it really hard, it can break. So what you do is you kind of wiggle it a little. So just wiggle it. It's hard to see, but you just kind of wiggle it and it'll pop out just like that, okay? You don't want to just yank it straight out because you can tear this cable. Alright, so once you got that, I like to use my screwdriver underneath this rubber piece, alright, towards the center. So once you do that, you just lift it up, alright? And the reason I do that is because there's an adhesive. Oops, sorry. I don't know if you can even see that, but there's an adhesive there, okay? And then I basically get the screwdriver between the two layers and then pry up the adhesive, okay? Same thing with the other side. Just get your screwdriver underneath, or you can use like a toothpick or something. If you're worried that the tool is metal and you might touch it on the board, you can use like a plastic flosser or something like that. Alright. Okay, so now that we got those out, there's two screws holding little brackets on the side here. So you want to undo the screw here with the T5, or yeah, the T5, right? So take that screw out. I probably have another video showing this as well. So if you can't figure it out, just watch my other videos, but this metal bracket comes out, or just rewatch the video multiple times and hopefully you'll be able to figure it out. All right, undo the other screw. Then pull up that bracket as well. Okay, sorry if you didn't see it, but it has that metal hook. Again, try and keep all of these things in order so that way when you put it back, I like to lay it out on my table in the way I'm taking them out. And for the hinges, what you do is you loosen them slightly, just like this. Alright, after you get that, you open the screen. You don't want to take them out all the way, just unscrew it a tiny bit. Alright, then open the screen about 90 degrees, or actually more than 90 degrees. Then you flip the computer over and hang the screen off your desk, just like this. Okay, so the screen's hanging off my desk. You can use your thighs or just hold the screen up with one hand. Alright, and then just undo the 3 screws there. So just like this. Again, try and keep the screws in order. And if you have it, usually for the hinges you want to add some thread locker, so that way the screws don't come loose. Sometimes the screws for the hinges will come loose over time because it's like constantly having pressure moving forward and backwards. And then the screws can come a little loose, and if that happens, then you can actually damage the screen. It's not as common in Macs to get damage from the looseness, but anyways, just to be safe, it's always a good idea. Right, once you get out all the screws, you can put the screen 90 degrees, so that way the hinges will be pointing up, and then you kind of just lift it and wiggle it out. Okay, so there we go, we got the screen out. We're gonna put in the new one. Alright, so grab the replacement. The replacement will usually have these hinges folded down. They are difficult to open, so the trick is you get your screwdriver, the T8, and then just stick it in the screw hole and then just pull it back like that. Okay, just like that. So be careful not to put the screwdriver too far because you can actually poke into the glass. Okay, but basically just like that. Alright, then you can drop the new screen in, just like this. Alright, and usually I like to put the screws in the ones that are closest towards the center of the computer, just so you can close the laptop. And then after that I like to line it up. So first I'll put those screws in. Okay, make sure that they're tight down because you don't want it to be loose to be able to pry the screw out, and you can damage the screw that way. Okay, so just like that. After you do that, again, I close the screen. Okay, do it slowly because if it's not lined up right, you can damage it. Then I peel off the plastic layer on top. I mean, I have this foam thing here to prevent it from getting scratched. But I peel out that plastic layer so that way I can undo these screws slightly. Alright. And after you undo the screws, then you can line up the screen with the base, just like this. I use my 2 fingers like to kind of pinch it to make sure that it's lined up. And then after you're sure it's lined up, you can tighten down the hinge screw again. And again, I like to use Loctite or thread locker to hold the screws in place. So what you do is first make sure to get everything connected properly. Okay, so route the wires. I want to plug this in. I'm gonna have to dust this out later. It's pretty dusty. Alright, make sure this wire stays on top. Okay, guide in the camera cable first, and then you can use the screwdriver to kind of push the wings of that cable in, alternating left to right. Okay, so just like this. Same thing, wiggling it out, you also wiggle it back in. Okay, so now you can see it's back in. These cables do have the adhesive thing. Sometimes it's already like the adhesive's already like the old adhesive, so you won't have these little adhesive strips on it. But if yours has it, then you want to do that. All right. Then route the wires through here. Okay. Route the wires there. You'll probably want to line up this first. So to be safe, just put the screw in loosely. Okay. Just like that. Just to keep this lined up. Alright, then you can plug in the antenna cables. So again, you have to make sure, line it up perfectly. You'll know because if you use your fingernail over it, it stays, it doesn't move around, and then you can snap it in. Alright, again, with the center one, make sure to get it lined up on top. Okay, this is very important. I've seen people break these antenna wires, so you need to be very careful. If you break these, then you're not going to have wireless. Sometimes you can move the antennas around and you can choose between wireless or Bluetooth or whatever if you break one of them, but yeah, if you break too many, then you're pretty much going to have to find like a wireless USB adapter or something. Right? They are a bit tricky to put in, so just take your time. Make sure it's lined up. Right, pop it in place. Last one. Alright, come on. There we go. Make sure it's lined up, and then pop it down. Alright, so now we got all those cables in. We'll push the wires down. Okay. Make sure it's flat. And then you can put the rubber piece back on top. The middle parts here between the fan and the heat sink actually have little things that grip in. Alright, so like I was saying before, I like to use thread locker, so this stuff. So this I'll have to kind of apply kind of off screen. It's kind of hard to do this while it's in view. I'm going to tighten this screw down so that the metal thing doesn't move around. Then I'll take one screw out at a time. Alright. Grab the screw. Put a little drop of the thread locker on there. You don't need much. Just like this. I don't know if you can even see it. There's not really that much on there. Once you do that, just put the screw in, tighten it all the way. Right? And then just do that for all 6 screws, okay? Alright. So again, this makes sure that the screws won't come loose. This will prevent the screen hinge from getting shaky. Alright. The only thing is, this is only the bottom half, so if it becomes shaky on the hinge, like underneath the hinge on the other side, then you'll have to kind of take the screen bezel apart, but that's kind of a difficult thing for people to do, so yeah. Alright, so just keep doing the same thing. Add the thread locker to every screw. Tighten it up. Alright, don't forget the one that's already in there. Alright. Like that. Alright, now that you got all the screws in, put back the little brackets. You can also attach the screen cable. Let's see here to get a better view. Make sure that when you put this, that the gold pins are facing up, not the flat side, and also move the metal bracket on top, okay? So once you get that, it's difficult to do this because usually I have to put my head over to see better. So let's see if I can do this without getting my head in the way. Alright, just line it up. It's a little tricky because it's gonna go slightly at an angle since the charge port is in the way. Alright. And it's more difficult since I can't block the view with my head. Okay, there we go. So once you got it, make sure you use this latch thing, lift it up and pull the thing all the way in. Right? Once you got it pulled all the way in, put the latch down. And then if you want, after you put the latch down, you can use your fingernails to kind of pull on it. But don't pull too hard because you don't want to break the connector off. I've seen some people do that. Alright, so now we got to put the metal brackets back. Oh, this one got caught by the magnet. Alright, so we'll put these little metal brackets that hold the screen in place back in. Just like that. Right. Since I put the hinge in first, it's a little bit difficult because the screw gets in the way, but it's not really in the way, so it's just kind of a little less room to wiggle it around. Alright, so get that in place. Put in that screw as well. Alright, tighten it up. Then you can put these little rubber things back on top. If you're wondering, the longer part is closer towards the middle, okay, when you put these on. So if you were to mix them up, then just know that the longer part that sticks out is towards the center of the laptop. Alright, so we'll plug it back in, the battery. I'll clean the dust out later, but for now, I'm just going to test to make sure everything's working. Alright, close it up. Something moving in there. Okay, never mind. Alright, so open up the screen. I might need to charge it up, but we'll see. Alright, so usually I'll do Control, Option, Shift, and the power button. This does an SMC reset. Alright, so usually whenever I change hardware, I like to do that. The way you'll know it works, I don't know. Okay, so if you can see, let me see if I can show this. So the charge light is actually orange right now. If I push it, you see it turns green, and then it turns back to orange. Alright, that's how you know it worked. Then you can power it on. And then I like to do Command Option P and R to do a PRAM reset. So this resets other settings and stuff for like the volume and everything like that. So as you can see, it turned the volume back to max. The Apple is showing, so I think we're good to go. So let's do one more thing. Just want to make sure to show you that it's working. I'm going to hold the Option key and go to the boot menu. So here you can see the screen is good to go. So you can peel off the rest of this stuff. Okay, someone wanted a face reveal, so this is, I guess, what you're going to get. You'll see my face later eventually. Alright, anyways, the computer's working, and that's pretty much it. So I'm just going to clean out the dust. We'll shut this down. Alright. Looks like he also has like a slight battery issue. It must be bulging because the click isn't working properly. Either that, is this the motor model? Oh, this is the model with the clicking the motor. So I think he actually spilled something in here. It's kind of sticky. So at some point the computer got a spill on it and it kind of messed up the trackpad. But yeah, I mean the trackpad works, it's just the vibration doesn't work anymore. So but yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully this video helped you. If it did, please like and subscribe because it'll help me. It'll also help others find these videos so that they can know how to fix their computers. And thank you for watching. The screens on these models, they're getting expensive right now. I don't know if the prices will ever go down, but right now I think they're like in the 500, 600 range or so. So especially if you're getting one like new. So just know that if you're going to be changing your screen, it's going to be pretty pricey unless you can somehow find a cheap used one or something. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to mention. I have a contest up for some Apple AirPods Pros. So read on, go over to my community page and then read up on that. I have the rules in there, but pretty much submit a video showing what you learned. All right. It can be any computer. You can even get like a broken computer and just show me what you learned from it. All right. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.